Happy holidays and welcome to Suite 301, coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're here to give you all the latest news and updates from around all Cold Club sports. I'm Sandy Sanderson. This fine young gentleman, Matt Hazy.
How are you guys? You can watch all of our broadcasts here on Suite 301 page, on our Facebook pages, and on YouTube.
All right, great stuff. Matt, welcome to the broadcast booth,
Thank you.
the main stage.
Yeah.
You've been on here as a guest before, I know, but good to have you here co-hosting with me today.
Yep.
Hey, we're going to dive right into it's football. It's the holidays. It's football season. We just completed the NCFA championship, so let's dive right into some NCFA updates. And we'll welcome to the show Director of Football Operations, Dave Mogensen.
What's happening?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good. Yeah, I see you're driving along. We're in that very unique period in the NCFA season where we're just on the tail end of the in the backwash of the 23 season. We've got the national championship crown, Central Georgia Tech. The All-Americans have come out. The postseason awards have come out. But we're not quite looking into next year yet. We're right there. But let's recap that national championship game a little bit. Were you? I know you were not able to be in attendance. Were you able to watch the game?
I wasn't really able to watch it. I was checking updates, but I wasn't there and I wasn't able to watch it. So I don't have a ton of insight into the dynamic of the game. You'd be a better person for that than I was. But it was the second year in a row with the South Atlantic team winning it all, and it was a lot closer game than we had last year.
Yeah, it was a tight ball game. Throughout, Central Georgia kind of broke it open late. Big size advantage over Ohio State there. You could see just in the pregame warmups, Central Georgia Tech had some guys that were probably 6'6", 3 bills. They're big up front.
Their nose guard won our Freshman of the Year award, Gianta Jones, and he is listed at 6'4", 380. And he's a rather large man. So I think Ohio State center was on, second team All-American, and he was about 6 foot 235. So there was probably a little matchup issue there for Ohio State.
Yeah, big boys over there for Central Georgia Tech. But, they came out victorious. Terry Kendrick, unfortunately, we weren't able to get him to join us on the show today to talk about the national championship. We were hoping to get him on, discuss the celebration that took place once they got back to campus and so forth. They traveled pretty well. They had a nice little following of parents out there, they were a deserving team. They played a little bit better than Ohio State. They kind of wore them down. It was a great ball game. Really probably through three quarters. Before that size advantage.
I think it was
really wore them out.
Similar to what happened last year. They got blown open a little bit bigger at the end, but it was Ohio State staying close for a while, and then just the amount of athletes and size, wore on them, and they lost track of the game, like in the end of the third, early fourth. And I think last year just got a little bit out of the way. But the thing that most impresses me is Central Georgia Tech is a second-year club program. So they were first year last year, brand new program, won a few games, didn't make the playoffs or qualify for anything like that. But to come out in the second year and go all the way to a national championship is pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, as the national championship is in the rearview mirror, we mentioned that the All-Americans have now been released. You want to talk to us a little bit about any of those big names that showed up on that board there?
Yeah, so we have a ton of Ohio State guys on there, which you would suspect with them, once again going to a national title game for, I think, the fourth year in a row. Only won a couple of those, but to go 4 years in a row is pretty impressive. So Spencer Moore was the Offensive Player of the Year, as well as first-team All-American quarterback. Kind of rewrote record books of NCFA single-season stuff, which is pretty amazing because Ohio State just graduated 4-year starting quarterback Kellen Garanstein, who was couple-time bowl game MVP, and he was also multiple-time Offensive Player of the Year. So Spencer had some pretty big shoes to fill, and he not only filled them, he had a better season than Kellen had at all. in 4 years there. So that was pretty impressive. We had a lot of guys with just some really good years stat wise, especially on offense. It seemed like an offensive driven year, even though the national championship game wasn't really an offensive shootout. We had a lot of quarterbacks put up some really good stats, even guys that didn't make first or second team. Then in turn, obviously, if you have quarterbacks putting up stats, we had a lot of wideouts with just some really outstanding statistics. It was a good year for NCFA as far as, our team level is a little bit down from previous years, but there was a really high quality of football being played.
Yep, and you can check out all those All-American releases on our website, ncfafootball.org, clubfootball.org, excuse me. You'll see those there, the All-American announcements, the individual postseason award announcements, and the academic All-Americans, which I believe will be released in January. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah, so we're going to send out the nomination, and we're going to go with like the online, like we did this year for the regular All-Americans. Formerly, we had a form you had to send out and send back, but we're trying to cut some of that stuff out. So we'll send out the nomination link, and it'll be similar aspect to how we just did the regular All-Americans. We'll send that out this week, and then because there is the dynamic with academics of needing to have some grade verification, we will not release them until January, just to give guys the ability to get their grades from this semester, if they need them.
All right, good stuff. Well, we look forward to that announcement in January. On the housekeeping side of things, like other than making sure you nominate those academic candidates, academic All-American candidates, what other things should teams be worried about right now?
So right now, most teams, I think we do have one team out there that's still floating with owing some dues, partial dues and stuff like that, but we reach out to them individually. But for teams that are up to speed on all that stuff, they need to turn in their academic All-American nominations when that goes out. And then they're kind of just waiting for January for us to send out the 2024 league participation agreement. And that'll be a big step. Again, with the amount of teams that we have, we do have a few possible new teams in the coffer that hopefully we can get them to get signed up here in January. But until we get all those LPAs in, we really don't know the dynamic of how the conferences are going to lay out and things like that. It is a little bit fluid with the amount of teams we've had the last few years. So I think we'd like to stick with the 3 conferences and a wild card. That's worked pretty well the last couple of years, but the dynamic of the conferences can change drastically if 1 or 2 teams aren't in the league. So that'll be the next step, getting your ducks in a row and making sure you're prepared to do the LPA so we can get everything else moving.
Yep. Yeah. Once we get back from kind of the winter break and everyone returns to campus, excuse me. I think we'll be looking to set a date for like a league-wide Zoom meeting, start talking about 2024. So. All right, Dave. Well, hey, we appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for chiming in, joining the show. We appreciate all the hard work this NCFA season. It was a good one with Central Georgia Tech coming out on top. Dave, happy holidays to you and your family, and we'll talk to you soon.
Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas.
All right, good stuff. All right, well, that wraps up the NCFA portion of the show, but now we're on to Matt's wheelhouse. Men's basketball. Matt, take us down that road.
Yeah, absolutely. So the fall season, fall part of the season just ended up about last week. We had 20 or so games being played last weekend. But, now that the fall season is under wraps, a lot of teams have started their conference play, non-conference play. So it went really well. Looking forward to the spring season starting up. We'll get the remaining 3 conferences going there with the South Atlantic South getting their conference started, and then the Pacific region getting started out there too. So all in the spring. So looking forward to that stuff.
Were there anybody stand out this fall in play that's kind of off the radar? I mean, we got UCLA as a reigning champion,
Yep.
JMU reigning runner-up.
Yep.
You kind of expect big things from there. Any surprises out there, or any disappointments in that regards?
I think, Miami coming on board, they're 8-1. They've played in a lot of non-conference tournaments so far before their season starts. So, yeah, that's kind of a surprise. New team, didn't really know what to expect from them. So, happy to see them in the top 20, more specifically the top 5. So, Northeastern, the overall number 1, they've been number 1 for 3 straight weeks now. I think they're 18 or 20-0, all non-conference games. So, a lot of surprises there.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, we'll see what conference play brings.
Yeah.
them, right.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, now we can move on to the most recent top 20, which was released last week. As you can see there, Northeastern is still number one. Like I said, third straight week. They received 12 of the 13 potential votes, with Notre Dame receiving that other one. They're 8-0. National champion runner-up, I believe, 2 years ago. So good to see them back to where they used to be. We have UCLA, last year's reigning champ, at the 2 spot. James Madison, last year's runner-up, in the 3. Miami in that 4, and then Penn State rounding out the top 5. But yeah, and then we've had some big jumps there with Notre Dame going from 15 to 8. Boston College back in the rankings from being not ranked last week. They had a big week, jumping up to that 16 spot. So, and then the rest you can kind of see there.
Gotcha. All right.
So, yeah, just kind of like I said, with the fall season, pretty much over. Just waiting for the spring season to start back up. As far as housekeeping items go, teams can start working on their spring academic eligibility letters. We will have a roster removal period the week of January 7th through the 14th. So you will be able to, remove players from your roster during that week only. Check the rule book on how to be able to do that, and I will also be sending out email reminders there. Also, if you haven't paid your league dues yet, that early discount period is ending here at the end of the year. So if you want to take advantage of that, you still have a couple weeks to do so.
All right.
Sounds
good.
That's really about it.
All right. Good stuff. Any updates on a national championship location? Is anything official with that yet?
Not official yet, but we are working on it, and we hope to have that released very, very soon.
Okay, good stuff. Looking forward to that. Well, while we're on the basketball side of things, let's slide over to the men's basketball side and bring on to the show Alec Verhoff.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good, Alec. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
But yeah, just jump right into things here. Same as the men's side. Our fall season is officially over at this point. We had a lot of games played so far, but just kind of some things to touch on for that fall season. I think our biggest matchup so far that we've had was Penn State and Villanova. So they were both national championship tournament teams last year, and Penn State from realignment got moved into that conference, and they actually swept them in that matchup. So that'll be big as far as the standings go later in the season.
Penn State swept Villanova?
They did, yep, beat them both games.
Wow.
So that'll be big as far as the standings go. Outside of that, we've got a lot of teams that are still undefeated. The New England has, I believe it's 6 teams that are all 4-0 between their 4 conferences. Nevada, reigning champs, still undefeated. So there's been a lot of good basketball going on, and a lot of parity so far with a lot of these undefeated teams. So that's good to see.
All right, good stuff. And I'm going to ask you the same question. Any surprises? Anybody, somebody playing better than anticipated?
I don't know about any big surprises. I think the biggest upset, I would say, was Grand Valley State beating Ohio State one time in the Happy Valley Fall Tip-Off. I believe that was just in pool play. But, that was a matchup where they played in regionals and the national championship last year, and Ohio State got the better of them both times. So, I'm sure that was a good feeling for Grand Valley State to come out and get some revenge on them.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Good stuff. All right.
Moving on to the top 15 released last week. So a lot of this is kind of the same as what it has been. Those top 3 teams have been the same all season. Northeastern and SIUE did jump into the top 5, as you can see there. And then the biggest jumps are Sacred Heart and Tufts. They both were not ranked the previous poll, but they're ranked on this one. Both undefeated in conference play. Sacred Heart actually had a pretty big win against UMass. They split a 2-game series against each other, but it's a big win for them, so I think that helped propel them back into the top 15.
All right, good stuff. All right.
Yep, and sorry, go on.
No, you got the lead, Alec. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, last but not least, housekeeping. Same stuff that Matt talked about. I think at this point the biggest thing would probably be the league dues. We're less than 2 weeks away from that early discount period. So make sure, take advantage of that, get it in by the end of the year. Start thinking about those rosters for the spring semester. You'll have to do all the same academic letter stuff that you did in the fall. You have to redo it, get that into us before your games. But yeah, I mean, really, those are the two big things at this point as it's kind of at our slow period.
All right. Well, Alec, we appreciate the update, and thanks for joining the show today. Happy holidays to you and your family.
Happy holidays. You'll see me here in a little bit for the swing and the spring stuff too, so you can't get rid of me that easy.
I'll try harder next time. All right, good stuff. All right, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break. When we get back, we'll dive into some NCBA baseball action. Stay tuned.
The Game is the official headwear sponsor for Cold Club Sports. They offer our team's quality headwear, such as hats, visors, boonies, and beanies for a great low price. All items are customizable to meet our team's needs. Contact Felicia.Battaglia at coldclubsports.com for all of your headwear needs.
Rawlings is the proud uniform, equipment, and ball sponsor of the National Club Baseball and Softball Associations. Teams receive up to 45% off on all their orders. For more information, including catalogs and price quotes, contact our front office today.
Another frustrating game day without officials. Don't let the lack of officials bench your game. Introducing Officials Unlimited, the game-saving solution. We bring expertise, precision, and integrity to every play, ensuring your game runs smoothly. Our officials are experienced. We offer streamlined scheduling solutions and a quality experience for all. Elevate your game with us. Officials Unlimited, elevating sports, raising standards. Visit officialsunlimited.com/schedule or call now 813-503-2197 to ensure your next game is a success.
All right, welcome back to the show, and I'm welcoming to the set, Jimmy Henderson, Director of Division II Baseball Operations. Jimmy, how are you doing?
Awesome. I love the hat.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All my kids have them, and they insist we wear them from the moment we get out of bed till the moment we get back in bed.
I think they're right.
Yep, they got the Christmas spirit, and they're throwing it at anybody that walks by. So, Jamie, give me an update on baseball. Here we added a couple of new teams recently.
Yep, we have added 2 new teams since the last show in Oklahoma State and Florida A&M. Oklahoma State will join the Great American North, and Florida A&M will join the Dixie South. So glad to have those 2 on board. Florida A&M, a brand new team to the league, as far as I know. And Oklahoma State, after a couple-year hiatus after COVID, good to have them back too.
All right, they're both jumping into Division II, right?
They're both jumping into Division II.
That's exciting. It's not the time of year that we're usually talking about adding baseball teams, but hey, we'll take them. Welcome aboard, Cowboys and
Rattlers.
All right, good stuff. What else should baseball teams be? The fall season for baseball has been over several weeks now. What do teams need to be worried about right now as they kind of the calendar flips?
Yeah, yep, kind of a little slow on the information front with us being right in the middle of December. But dues, they're not due until February 28th, but you do save $100 if they're paid before December 31st. So if you can, take advantage of that discount. Every dollar can count. Same thing with performance bonds. There's still a little bit out there that have not been paid. Those were due in September. You've been placed on probation. You've been notified. If you have any questions about what it is or how much it is, anything at all, make sure you're getting with your league head, and we can work with you to make sure to get those paid.
All right, good stuff. Now we'll move on to Swing in the Spring, Panama City Beach edition, and that registration period has closed for the baseball side of it. We've ended up with 53 teams coming down to PCB over their spring breaks to enjoy the fun and the baseball and the sunshine of Panama City Beach, Florida. I know Antonio is currently working this week on schedule request forms for that event. We're due Friday. So he's working this week and starting to put together the schedule with the goal of being to be able to release that schedule to everybody by January 1. On the softball side of that, registration still remains open for through January 1st. So we got a couple more weeks for more softball teams to come on board, but we do have 7 signed on there too. So great stuff there. If you haven't been to Swing in the Spring Panama City Beach, you have no idea what you're missing. It's awesome. Great experience for baseball and softball teams alike. And some new news, some big news on the Swing in the Spring front. We've signed several new sponsors that come that are going to be making the event even better for our member teams. Domino's and Beef O'Brady's both been sponsors since we moved to Panama City Beach. The Sky Wheel has now come on board as a sponsor. The Pancakery is a breakfast spot in the area that I've been told by Antonio was spot on. Sharky's, one of my favorite beachside bar restaurants. They were excited to come on board and partner with us to hope drive some traffic there. And from what I hear, there's like half a dozen more discussions going on with other sponsors in the area. People, I know Antonio was down there like 2 weeks ago, meeting with a bunch of businesses and community leaders that really want this event to continue to grow, prosper, and make it even more fun for those in attendance, family and players alike, as they descend upon Panama City Beach this March. So big news there, exciting stuff. But let's get back into the West Coast side of spring training, which we haven't talked much about yet this fall. And let's go back to Alec Verhoff, our Director of Spring Training West.
Yeah, we really haven't touched on it too much on the show. I don't think I've been on at all for it, so I'm pretty happy to give an update with where we are so far. But we officially have 15 teams signed on right now. I actually just got a couple more today, so we're up to 15. I know that says 13, but 15 with some still in the pipeline that could send in paperwork to come. But a lot of good teams, especially like the ones you see on there with a lot of teams that make our postseason and everything. So should be some good competition.
Good stuff. When is your registration deadline, and when do you hope to release your schedules?
It'll probably be running until about mid-January. We want to give teams a little bit more time with these holidays coming up. And then I'll start working on that schedule probably in that mid-January timeframe. So there's still time. If you are interested, feel free to reach out to me. My email's there on the screen, or you can go to our website, our Henderson page, and you can find the paperwork there, fill that out, and send it back into me, and we'll get you on the schedule.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, I know it's been a couple years since I've been out to the Henderson version of Swing in the Spring. I end up working the East Coast side of it, but it's a fun time out there in Nevada. They have lots of fun things to do out there on your spring break or on your time off. I've enjoyed my trips out there as well. So come see me in Panama City Beach. Go see Alec out in Nevada if you want, whichever you want. We're both
preferably Nevada.
Okay. All right, good stuff. Thanks, Alex, for joining us on the show. All right,
Yep.
I'm going to give a special thanks to Jimmy Henderson as he escapes the set after his lengthy and in-depth update on new baseball teams. But I got a special treat for you right now. We've got to talk about our softball portion of the show. Lacey Lautner, Director of Division II Softball Operations. Lacey, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. I know Christian got called away, so we had to throw you into the fire here at the last minute to give us all our softball updates. So let us know what's up. Like, talk to us about the new D1 Top 20 poll. And
Yeah, Christian, he gave me some notes to talk about the D1 Top 20 poll for Week 12. So something exciting is we do have a new number 1 for Week 12. It is Wisconsin. They did receive 2 votes to be the number 1 seed. This is the 4th new number 1 seed this fall portion of the season, which I think is pretty crazy. A lot of teams have been bouncing around on the top 20 poll as well. The 4 number 1 teams that have been on this fall portion have been VT, Iowa, Illinois, and now Wisconsin. They've all received the number 1 seed at some point this year. So that's pretty impressive for all of those teams. Last season, we only did have 2 number 1 teams, which were VT and Sacred Heart. So to see 4 now, I think is pretty cool since we're doing it every 2 weeks instead of once a month. So we're going to have a lot of teams, making an appearance at the top 20, which is pretty cool. And then just a last little note for the D1 side is the next top 20 will be coming out February 1st. So keep an eye on that and see where your team's going to end up in February.
Now, I look at that list of D1 top 20, and I see all these familiar names, except one.
Which one's
St. Bonaventure.
that? Yep.
What's going on with them? Do you know any scoop on them?
No, I don't have any scoop on them, but I was shocked to see them too.
All right, good. Hey, Bonnies, let's go. Let's throw a wrench in the machine and let's spin this thing around.
Yeah.
Let's go. I like to see some new teams making some headway there. So good for the Bonnies.
Definitely.
All right. Well, how about the D2 side of the top 10 poll? What's going on in D2?
Yeah, so top 10, there's been a lot of movement within the last couple of months. D2 is only once a month, so you're going to get it. You're going to get this again in February as well. But we're going to talk about the December one, which is up on the screen now. So like I said, there's been a lot of moving around with teams jumping from bottom to top. To start, we have a number 1 seed. It's Northern Michigan. They've been number 1 since the preseason, which is pretty impressive. They are 6-0 in conference and 8-0 overall, so their record's pretty impressive, and they deserve to be number 1. Number 2 is Fairfield. They're trailing behind by 1 point difference to take the number 1 seed.
Right on their heels.
And Fairfield is also 9-0 for the season, so this is a pretty tight race to see who's going to be number 1 and number 2. And then number 3, Stevenson, they also started out at number 9, and they worked their way all the way up to number 3, which I thought was pretty impressive with a heavy amount of total points at 79 points. And yeah, they climbed to number 3. They did start at 9, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, there is a new team on the top 20 this month, or the top 10 this month, and that's Loyola Maryland. In my opinion, I think they're a pretty powerful team. They're always submitting their weekly submission form. They're always getting scores into me ASAP, and a ton of their players and pitchers have been recognized as national players and pitchers, which I thought was impressive. So I think they do deserve the number 9 seed. So that's kind of all I have for top 10.
All right, good stuff. When does softball play resume? February 1st?
Around February, yeah.
February 1st?
Yeah,
okay.
that's whenever District 3 will have their first set of games.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Again, for those watching at home, this is the first year of NCSA Division II, so we're really excited to see how that's playing out with their own set of rankings, their own postseason, and so forth. And hopefully we'll be having a Division II World Series site to announce here in the January episode, right?
Definitely.
What about on the softball side of housekeeping? What do softball teams need to be worried about right now?
Yeah, the top thing that they should be worried about right now is the annual league dues discount. That is over December 31st. So if you want to receive $100 off of your annual league dues, you want to get that payment into us on or before December 31st. If your team wants to save $100. Also, for D1 and D2, I would keep an eye on the regional page on the website, as those should be getting updated pretty soon with the official sites that we'll have for your region. So keep an eye on that. And then you can check that out on the regional tab. And like we said, you should check it out pretty frequently, as once January and February roll around, those dates and places will be finalized.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, is that it for the softball portion of the show?
Yep.
All right. Appreciate it, Lacey. Hey, that's our show for this month. Happy holidays to you and your family. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Sweet 301. And don't forget to keep following us on all our social media accounts.
Yep, and then the next episode is January 16th at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Facebook Live. Join us and catch up on everything that's happening in the Call Club sports.
All right. Do you know the tagline?
I hope so, yeah.
It's a game.
Have fun.